Close your eyes and try to picture absolute nothingness. Most of us imagine a pitch-black void, but even that image is a shortcut. Blackness is a sensory experience. It requires a viewer and the absence of light. If we flicker the lights on, we see the space was never truly empty. Strip away the walls, the floor, and the light itself, you are still visualizing space. For you to sit there imagining it, time must be taking forward. Space and time are structural components of reality. They are exactly what nothing is not. For most of human history, we have treated absolute nothingness as the default state of reality. The baseline was zero, and everything else was an addition. Under this assumption, the existence of the universe is a bizarre deviation from the norm. It forces us to look for a specific, miraculous trigger that could somehow violate the rules of a blank slate to kickstart the cosmos. However, if we flip the baseline and consider that something is the natural state, the burden of proof shifts. We no longer have to explain why we are here, we would have to explain why the universe would ever be empty. Tracking the universe back to its first moment inevitably leads to the question, what existed before it? Stephen Hawking suggested that the answer lies in the limitations of human grammar. At the North Pole, every direction is south. The concept of further north is geographically impossible. Hawking argues the Big Bang functions as a similar boundary. Time is a property of our specific universe. When we ask what happened before it, we use words that rely on the very timeline we are trying to step outside of. Our logic breaks down because the question itself is mathematically incoherent. To see why nothingness is so elusive, we can try to create it manually within a controlled region of space. We vacuum out every atom. We extract the protons, the electrons, and every stray photon of energy. Yet even in this void, an underlying fabric remains, a network of quantum fields. These fields are not things inside space, they are features of space itself. They cannot be turned off or deleted. Even in our empty box, fields like the electromagnetic or Higgs fields still have a baseline value that fluctuates and pulses. Cosmologist Anthony Aguirre observes that this makes nothingness a far more difficult state to achieve than a chaotic, matter-filled universe. Maintaining a perfect zero across all these fields is physically unstable. Space without matter is still a highly active, structured entity. It fundamentally resists being empty because the fields that define it are essential and perpetual. If we move from physics to pure statistics, the odds of a universe existing become even clearer. Imagine a dataset of every possible configuration reality could take. Within this set, there is exactly one configuration that equals absolute zero, a state where nothing happens and nothing exists. Every other configuration in that infinite set results in something, whether it's a universe made of light, a universe that lasts a fraction of a second, or our own. The number of active states is infinite. In an infinite timeline, a system doesn't stay in one state. It cycles through possibilities. If there is a non-zero chance of the system being something, it is only a matter of time before it lands on one of those configurations. When you combine infinite time with an infinite number of ways to exist, the state of nothingness becomes a statistical impossibility. The math forces a transition from zero to everything. This still leaves the problem of energy. If the universe came from a zero state, we have to account for the massive amount of energy currently fueling stars and galaxies. Cosmologists have found that the total energy of a closed universe might actually still be zero. Matter possesses positive energy, but the gravitational field pulling that matter together possesses an equivalent amount of negative energy. When you add the positive and negative energy together, they perfectly cancel each other out. The net energy of the entire system remains zero. This suggests the universe didn't create energy from scratch. It is still a net zero system, just one that has been temporarily divided into positive and negative components. We struggle to accept this because of selection bias. We are viewing the cosmos from the inside out, assuming that our existence is a rare, lucky event. If there were infinite stretches of time where nothing existed, no one would be there to notice. There is no consciousness present to observe a vacuum or ask why it's empty. Humans can only exist during the highly active, chaotic periods when the stats have perfectly aligned to create something. We mistake the conditions for our survival for a violation of the natural order. Furthermore, Mathematical and logical truths are timeless. 2 plus 2 was 4 before the Big Bang, and it will be 4 after the last star dies. These truths don't need a creator or a start date. They are the bedrock of reality. Existence aligns perfectly with the underlying math of the universe. We are living proof that nothing was never the baseline, and that existence is the only state reality can actually sustain.